Here we go. Hi, ladies. Welcome to our One Call Away live call.
So this week's topic is your one call away from prioritizing your own happiness and after separation or divorce. And that's not an easy thing to do. You know, a lot of people have been through a lot of trauma and they have a lot of very hurt feelings. They, feel like they've been disrespected. And it's very hard to get over that pain that we go through without consciously making an effort to prioritize your own health and well-being. And that's what we want to talk to you today about.
Yeah, we've just enjoyed 3 days with some amazing ladies in Sydney. We had 150 girls turn up over the couple of days, and we got to hear stories from them about how just gaining a bit of hope and increasing their education and their thinking to another level gave them a chance to think about having a bigger life and a more fulfilling life ahead, which was so exciting by Sunday when the girls walked out, just knowing that they've got some action. And this is the big one, is to take action after you hear something or you do something. That procrastinate just keeps you there and it keeps you stuck. And at the end of the day, no action is bad action. Taking some positive action is always going to be a good place to start. So we're going to talk about that today as well.
Yeah. So, one of the things that we love ladies to, to be able to process and get out of their head, and because it's so easy when you lose your self-confidence, is to doubt yourself, doubt everything that you've been believing. And we have what we call the crazy period, is between like when you separate and really going through that first part of the separation. We call it the crazy period because very often your husband who you have known for a long time, or your partner who you've known for a long time, they go through some real changes in personality, and they do things and say things and that are hurtful and not necessarily true. They don't even believe them sometimes, but they are themselves reeling in their head. And what we know is when emotion goes up, intellect goes down. So when people are under pressure, when they're not processing confidently, they find it very hard to make good decisions, and they very often say very hurtful and nasty things. And very often it confuses the ladies so much because they go from pillar to post, and then the ladies are left reeling, trying to work it out and trying to understand it. And we spend a lot of time with the ladies that we work with through this crazy period to get them to realize that they can't be picking up everything that's said. They can't be trying to attach meaning to it. They can't be trying to make sense of it. And they can't be judging themselves on some of the nasty things that people say, because hurt people hurt other people. And it's a time that you really have to, get some self-love, get some support, and work out what you're going to believe and what you're going to just let fly, because it's not a good time for you to be listening and taking notice of things that your partner or your ex says, because very often they're very hurtful. And that's really sad to see ladies navigating through that territory. So Sandra's just got the flu at the moment, so she's being very brave. I'm sitting here trying to not catch germs. So we've got a presentation, so we thought that we would just jump over and have a look at our slideshow and just run through it quickly with you. So you are one call away from creating your own happiness after separation and divorce, and that's today's topic.
So, ladies, this is a big one, and it's up to us. If it's going to be, it's up to me. And that's a saying that's easy said than done in sometimes. And Fiona was talking about, in some cases, like having other people knocking down that confidence and that wall you have. And it's really hard to rebuild it. It's easier said than done. People saying, just ignore what they say, or just, do it yourself, or just move forward. But it's tough, and it's tough to do it by yourself. So this is what we want to do, is just share some strategies and some ideas that you can follow that road to recovery step by step, moving forward in a way that's really practical and it does work.
Yeah. So you've got to recognize the emotional turmoil that you're in, because navigating separation and divorce can be a real roller coaster of emotions, including sadness, anger, fear, and uncertainty. And all of those emotions are going to pop up, and you're going to feel like you don't know which way to go, who to believe, who to trust. And very often our hearts are broken. Very often we don't want the divorce. We don't want to be separated. We don't understand what's happened, and it's very painful. So, I just want to acknowledge that it is a really tough time, ladies. But, we also know that we need to acknowledge our feelings. We need to practice some self-care and some self-love. We need to be proactive, because if you sit there waiting, hoping, praying that things are going to change, you actually suffer. Because when we don't accept that this is the reality, that our partners have gone or our husbands have gone, or we've left a marriage, and very often we leave because the pain of staying is more than the pain of going, and the pain of going is hard. It's not easy to walk out on a marriage or walk out on your security or your home or anything like that. So, taking control of your healing and refusing to stay stuck and accept being sad and miserable is the best way for you to be able to move forward. And that's where you need to be proactive, because, it's a tough time, but you need to know that you don't want to stay there. You don't want to stay stuck in that sadness forever. So, you need to be patient, but healing can happen within 3 months. I've heard people say that, if you've been married 25 years, it's going to take you 5 years, or, they do these funny equations, but they're all just made up by someone, and it's a marketing ploy. It's not true. We've had lots of ladies heal from very traumatic situations within 3 months. And so, being proactive, having the right tools and the right skills is going to help you reduce your suffering. So that's the first part. You've got to recognize the emotional turmoil. This is trauma. It is challenging. It's hard. And it's things that you don't have a rule book for, and nobody's you haven't got anyone really telling you how it's going to be, how it's going to pan out. But don't just put your head in the sand. I was with a lady the other day. She had been 4 years since her husband left, and secretly she was waiting for him to come home. And, when we got talking about this and I found out more about her situation, I was able to guide her, and I needed to put some warnings in place very quickly, because I said to her, with what you're telling me, I can just about, I feel like he's probably taking funds, misappropriating, financially abusing you. And when she didn't believe that was true, and when she actually went into it and started going through their finances, having a look what had happened, that was exactly what was happening. And she was just unaware of it, because she secretly is still in love with the husband, hoping and wishing and praying that he's coming home, that hoping that he gets sick of the woman that he had left her with and was now living with, and that he would find sense. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen. It's not going to happen for you most of the time. And if it does happen, I want you to be wise and discerning if you actually want him back. And if you do want him back, it has to be a brand new relationship. It can be the same two people, but you've got to start with some new rules, and you've got to have two committed people to make a relationship. So it's not just going to be that he comes back and everything goes back to normal, because there is no normal after you've gone through separation.
I spoke to a lady about 2 weeks ago, and she had gone through separation about 5-6 months ago. And after 30 years, literally, her husband just said to her, it was in the middle of the night actually, and the lights had gone out, they'd gone to bed, and in the dark he told her that he had something to say and just said, I don't want to be married to you anymore. She was blindsided. She didn't have a clue it was coming. And she said the next day when they started talking to each other about it, she said, can you just give me some insight into where this came from? And she said that in her view, things had been great and nothing had changed, and she did not have any clue that things were even a little bit not good. And he said to her, you haven't been a good mother, you haven't been a good wife, you haven't been here for me. And yet here she was mostly a stay-at-home mum, had raised 4 kids. They were all healthy young adults, and 3 of them had moved out of home. They were beautiful souls, and they were well-educated. They were well-adjusted, great society members, and no drug, alcohol, trouble problems. And she felt that she'd been the perfect wife, been there supporting the family, all the dinner parties and all the social engagements and all the things that she did, because he didn't want her to work as well full time. And yet these were the things that he'd thrown back at her after all this time. And it really knocked her and brought her confidence right down. And he accused her of not contributing financially. He accused her of all sorts of things that had been things that he had initially wanted her to be in that situation. So at this time, things are going to be said, and they are things that can take your heart, right? And they're not things that we say don't take them on board, but it's not hard. It's hard not to take it on board, because it is so personal and it does hurt so much. So we get that. And these are the things that we're giving you a strategy just to come around that and know that there is hope on the other side. And maybe they just have had that emotional, side has gone up, so that intelligence side has gone down. And just to look at it from that way, that they may not be coming from a rational view, there is another side, and that you are a beautiful soul, and you have got amazing attributes, and you have got a beautiful heart, and that's what you need to be focusing on.
And that's exactly why, what we do with our clients, we work with them to go, that's not true. That is not true. I did contribute. I raised the family. I looked after the kids. And for you to actually keep your, rebuild your confidence, don't allow him to take your dignity away. And because when you go into your separation and your divorce, you need to bat for yourself. You need to advocate for yourself, and we help you do that because, we believe in being fair, and that, it's not okay for a lot of the ways that the women are getting treated these days. And, that especially stay-at-home mums, at the moment, the greatest area of homelessness, the growing area of homelessness, is women over 50 years old. And I just think that is not acceptable. Where you've had a family and a family home, and then the mother is moving out and becoming homeless because she doesn't have enough super, or she doesn't have enough assets to buy something for herself. And, that's not okay after you've given your life to your family for your whole life.
Or she's waiting for the financial split, and he sold her the business that she did have a lot of involvement in, but wasn't across the financial side, was making no money and was worth nothing. So these are the things that you might be led to believe, that it's really important that you do your own inquiry and do your own research to see where things are at. So embracing that opportunity for growth, and separation or divorce can be a turning point in your life. It can be a real opportunity, and offering a chance to reflect, grow, and reinvent yourself. And we talk about this, that white canvas there. And girls, this is your chance to be creative, have a bit of fun, put out there all the things that you have had hold you back. And I know with many women we speak to, they say, well, I always wanted to go on a trip, but my ex didn't want to go there, or he didn't want to go to Greece, but I've wanted to go to Greece all my life. Or he didn't want me to do painting because he said I was going to make too much mess, and he was worried I was going to, make a mess and wouldn't pack it up at the end of the day, or my quilting, or whatever it is, or horse riding or motorbike riding, or whatever you want to do and you've not done it. This is your chance to unbottle that and let it loose, and let yourself loose, and live that life that you've maybe not live fully because you've been compromised with the kids have been there, you've been busy being a mum, you've been busy being a wife, and now's your chance. And to self-reflect.
Yeah. And, you know, the way that we know is the way that ladies get the best results. They need to embrace the opportunity for growth. You know, this is where we first need to go inside. We need to rediscover and take that journey back home. We need to understand our values, our needs, and our rules. And we need to look at how we actually live our life, and then have a look at, is the way that we've been living our life really benefiting us, or are we living our life out of obligation to everybody else? So we need to get that clarity first through self-reflection, and then we need to create new goals for ourselves. We need to get clear on what we want, what our new values, rules, and beliefs are going to be, that we actually make up as a consciously, socially aware woman who has grown her own ability to think for herself, to not have to be pleasing everybody, to be living her life on her own terms, and to feel whole and complete inside. Once you go, it's a transitional journey. It's a step by step. You can't just jump from where you are to where you want to be. You actually have to go through a process of peeling back the layers, back into rediscovering who you are as a little girl. And that little girl is the one that we want to bring out, because she's the one who you were born to be. You were her before you got hurt, or before you got into toxic relationships, or before you were challenged and told that you're not good enough. So we want to get back to that beautiful little girl, and then we want to have you living your life on your own terms.
And, this is important, that you cannot just embrace what you'd like to do, but you get the chance to be able to go back and identify not just your strengths, but the things that you do have, skills maybe you've got untapped, or fun areas that you want to go back and explore, and just see if you want to do more of as well. It literally is a canvas. And, Fiona and I are now in Women on Transition, working with women that are single, separated, divorced, because we've gone through it ourselves. And at the time, we did not see that as the opportunity. But certainly when Fiona wrote the program Women on Transition and the curriculum for it, it was as a result of going through and the pain she had, that she wanted no one else to go through this. And I came on board having gone through it twice, and knowing that if other people don't learn this, that they'll go through it 2 and 3 times as well. And it isn't easier the second time. It's actually harder. And so it's really important that you get you right before you get into another relationship as well, because we do just make the same mistakes.
So we've got to rebuild our self-confidence. We've got to rebuild our belief in ourselves. We've got to learn to trust ourselves, because we can't trust anybody else until we trust ourselves. We need to know that we can make good decisions. And the way we do this, ladies, is to challenge our negative thoughts. We want to replace our self-critical thoughts with positive affirmations and focus on our strengths. We want to achieve and set fabulous, big, audacious goals for ourselves.
BHAGs.
Not little things, not just little things that we know that we could do. We want to stretch you outside your comfort zone. So you break down these amazing big goals that you set for yourself, but you break them down into small, manageable pieces. We call it chunking. So we chunk them into pieces that we work on. And then we're being proactive. So we're moving forward, and we're taking positive, inspired action in our life. And then we want to celebrate our success, because so many of us don't celebrate ourselves. So many ladies find it hard to look in front of a mirror and actually love every part of their body, every part of who they are. And, we're never going to value ourselves and demand respect from other people if we don't give ourselves that self-love and the respect that we really deserve. So these things come from, when you start to celebrate yourself, start being proud of the woman you are, start standing up for yourself, start advocating. Don't listen to negative things and nasty things that other people say. You know who you are inside, and you've got to bat for yourself.
Yeah, it's tough out there because suddenly you feel like you've always had somebody there beside you or someone that's had your back, and suddenly you are feeling very isolated and might not be alone, but you're feeling very lonely. And because no one's getting where you're at, no one's getting how you're feeling, no one's gone through what you've gone through that is close to you that maybe you can confide in, and it does feel very lonely. And that's something that we hear a lot, and we know and understand. We've been there, and I feel that the best thing to do is to surround yourself with like-minded people, and people that they get you and they get your journey, and they just joining one of even the Facebook groups here. We've got you're starting to connect with people that are like you and have similar journeys and can give you some good advice as well. So discovering new passions and interests, that canvas, that white canvas needs to be filled up, girls, and with some color and some brightness on there as best you can. And just to go through, and that separation or divorce can be a chance to explore new hobbies and rediscover passions you may have neglected, or just maybe not even thought that they were something you could ever consider. So become an upgraded version of yourself and step outside your comfort zone and experiment with activities that grow your emotional awareness. So what does that even mean? And just for you to be able to go through and think about things. I know one lady I was talking to, and she was saying that she was married to a guy that had a fear of flying, so a fear of travel, really anything outside of that they could go in a car. So suddenly she said, my horizons were literally opened up. I could start flying into places and having holidays. And someone else said that she always wanted to go traveling in a caravan with a husband, and when they separated they couldn't, or she felt she couldn't. And it was just said, well, why not? Why don't you just buy a car and a caravan and do it yourself, or find a girlfriend to go with you. And she did. She bought one that suited her and she could pull along, and one that she could handle. And she just took off for little weekends and odd days out. And another girl I know renovated a little, it was an all-in-one van. And so she said she felt super safe because she was locked up in it, and felt very contained, but she felt very protected as well. And she did it was a 19 sort of renovation, 1960s sort of, but she loved it, and she said it's been her little Bessie, she's been calling it. And so this is your chance to reinvent whatever that looks like, whether it's hobbies, exploring, work, adventuring and fun, trekking, fitness, and follow your curiosity. Be curious, rather than judging and have your life run by fear, because that's the past you, it's not the new you.
Yeah. So embrace your journey, ladies. Like, this is a fabulous time of our life. Don't be afraid to stumble and learn along the way. You've just got to keep moving. Everything around you continues to move. So if you're standing still or you're not taking any action, you're actually going backwards. So keep in action.
Establishing a supportive network. Building a strong support network can provide invaluable comfort and guidance during difficult times.
So reach out to family and friends, connect with loved ones, and who offer genuine understanding and support. So don't push people away who want to love you. We want you to also join support groups, but not just groups that tear you down, or that compete or are negative, and they have limitations of what is possible for you. We want you to join groups of inspired women who and men, like, that's why I put this photo in. I want you out there, not thinking all men are bad, or not thinking that, that there is good people out there. I want you to become curious, and I want you to look for all the wonderful people in the world who are able to support you and who want the best for you. So connect with other people who have healed, who have similar experiences, and who are succeeding in their own lives. Because if they're succeeding in their own lives, they will want the best for you. They're not going to compete against you. So we find that really interesting, is where, find people who are successful, hang around them, and then they will give you a hand up as well and show you the way. Seek help. Consider doing your core healing. This is the most beneficial thing that I believe that any of us should do. We heal from the issues that are actually at the base of our pain. We talk to ladies, and within 2 seconds we can have them crying because we don't just talk about the superficial things. We talk about the real things, and often it's just like a scab on the top, and as soon as you scratch the scab, the pain is still there, even 5, 10, 15 years down the track. And you don't realize how much this is holding you back until you got rid of it. So we want you to deal with the core underlying issues that have been holding you back.
Pain does not go away with age. And, we know a lot of older people that are really unhappy and still bitter over breakups and still triggered when they go to things like their kids' weddings and family functions. They don't even want to go, some of them, and they're fearful when they do. So, you want to live a life that's fulfilling, and you're able to show up at these events and be a proud mama for your daughter or son's wedding. And you want to be there in your own place and not be fearful of showing, because someone else is there that you don't want to see. And nurture the relationships with people who uplift and inspire you. Really focus on hanging out with those girls or those guys that, just are really great people that, they are your raving fans. They don't talk about you behind your back. They do support you, and they are there being your champion.
Excellent. Going through a separation and divorce is hard, and you need to navigate the legal and the financial aspects. Separation or divorce can involve complex legal and financial considerations. We see a lot of trauma, we see a lot of pain, we see a lot of financial abuse, and we really want to encourage women and men, we believe in being fair. We don't believe in one of the parties taking the other party for as much as they can get and not being respectful of the fact of who had what when they came into the relationship. But if you've had a long-term relationship and you've worked side by side, even if you had different duties, you allowed each other to do their duties by you doing your duties. So, if you believe that you're entitled to something, don't be talked out of it. And don't, even some of the lawyers will say to you, don't you just want your sanity, just walk away. And, it's horses for courses. We want you to make educated decisions. Use legal counsel, use financial planners, consider the kids' custody issues and being able to co-parent, and think about your property divisions. So you both get a share of what you're entitled to. And, don't sell out on yourself. If you believe that you're entitled to something, even though it's hard, remember that where you're at right here, right now is temporary. It's not always going to be like this. It is hard when you're going through it, but I want you to remember, being a midlife woman is not the same as when you're 20 and 30. You don't have the years and years to make up for, if you give too much away. And you've got to think about, how many years is it until your retirement age? Do you want to be working for the rest of your life? So these are things that you've got to really seriously think about when you're actually going through your separation and divorce, plus securing your assets afterwards. So you're never putting your assets on the line for maybe your next relationship. Doing wills, doing all of those things need to be taken into account, because a divorce is, it changes everything
and
for you.
nullifies your will. So if you had a will with your ex, even if after you separated from your ex, you got a new will, but then you hadn't divorced, and then when you divorced, you haven't updated that new will, they're all null and void, and can all be contested. So it's important that you update your will when you go through and you actually go through the transaction of formalizing your divorce. And you even when you get married again, the same thing happens. So we both have gone through setting up binding financial agreements or prenups with people that we were in serious relationship with, even before we got to our marriage or engagement, and living with them. So it's really important that you go through and understand what that means, and how even dating somebody, if you spend time with them on holidays, or you spend time traveling with them, or that can all be considered to be a de facto relationship. So just be aware that you might date someone for 4 or 5 years, but you say we're still living in our own place, but you spend 3 months a year caravanning or traveling, or you spend a couple of months a year on their boat, or you spend a few months a year holidaying, down at their holiday shack. All of these things can be mixed into the definition of it being de facto.
So just be wary and be careful.
Yeah. It's hard to earn, and we want you to keep what you have worked hard to achieve. And envisaging a brighter future, while separation or divorce may be painful, it's an opportunity to create that brighter future for yourself and your family. And setting new goals, focus on building a fulfilling life that aligns with your values and aspirations. And this is something that you can do with your kids as well, your adult kids, or your girlfriends, or your friends, and set up some plans to go on a holiday and do a family holiday that's you and the kids. And it might be that trip to Europe or skiing trip that they ex didn't want to do, but now everyone that's around does, and can go as well. So, and some of you may even want to eventually go with your ex when you've moved past and you are in that place of showing up from gratitude, which can happen after you've done your healing, and you'll have a holiday together. And that's something that some couples still do. Embrace happiness, prioritize your well-being, and seek out activities that bring you joy. And you're not looking after anyone else right now. You're looking after you, and putting that oxygen mask on yourself, and making sure that your life is super fulfilling and you're loving every day, and nurturing your relationships, strengthening bonds with loved ones who offer support and encouragement. People that maybe you've been a bit too busy to catch up with as much as you would have liked, or spend time with, or give back to, and now's your chance. No excuses. And looking forward.
Yeah. So believe in the possibility of a brighter future and step into your greatness and create it, ladies. When you think about what could be possible for you, don't downplay it, play it up. And, where you are is temporary. You are going to get through this stage of your life, and then the world is your oyster. Your kids are growing up. You're you're changing your responsibilities that you've got at home. You could always downsize. You can make your life easier. But then that is going to give you time that you can actually, prioritize and put some things in place that you enjoy doing. So look forward to a beautiful future, because we know that it's absolutely possible.
So taking that first step, ladies, what do you do, and how do you take that action? And just embracing that self-love. And I know that is sometimes harder to do than it is to say. And but it takes little steps. It's a little baby step every day, standing in front of that mirror and say, I do love you unconditionally, and keep saying it until you can say it. Say it fully without stuttering or stammering, or just not being able to say it, because many people find that really hard. Focus on your well-being and prioritize your own happiness, and book a call. We're available. Book a call with ourselves, so you can have a chat. Fiona's son Cody's available as well, and just see whether we can help you. We won't take on anyone that we know isn't right for us, or we're not right for you, or you're not right for us. We make sure that we have that connection, we can add value, and then we talk to you about what the best fit or best program is as well. There's a link that's going straight after this call into the chat, and there's also a link here. But certainly, just booking a call. It's unconditional. There's no obligation. It's free. And you get a chance to see, if we can help you, which in most cases we can at some level, because we've got lots of available offers that suit everyone.
Yeah. So ladies, you are one step away from prioritizing your own happiness. You deserve it. You've been a good wife, you've been a good mum, and now you've got to be good to yourself. So get out there and live your best life.
And grow your mind so you can grow everything else about you. Ladies, we look forward to meeting you in person one day, and wishing you an amazing life ahead.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.